Well, we're just 7 days away from the start of polling for the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Of course, May 19th will be the end of polling, but certainly not the end of election process. That's because counting, obviously, is on the 23rd of May. Yash Jain is with us to tell us about the counting process. Yash, over to you.
Well, absolutely, Nigel. Even as the voting process for Lok Sabha elections 2019 will end on May 19th, but of course, that would not be considered as the end of this election process because, of course, that very important day, which is when those millions of votes will be counted, would be May 23rd. And just because how important this entire process is, let me just take you through in terms of what is the whole process in which your votes, those millions votes casted by Indian citizens, are counted. Let me just start with the first slide in terms of making you understand who are the people who are expected to be present in the polling station when the voting and the counting really happens. So the first one, returning officer, he's the most important person who's present at the polling station. He supervises, inspects and makes sure that the entire counting process goes through smoothly. Along with him, of course, the candidates of the polling station as well as their one representative each or agent each would be present at that particular polling station. Now, next is we get to the important point in terms of how these votes are counted. One very common process which is in place right now is per polling station counting, which means that a constituency, if it has 20 polling stations, all those 20 polling stations, the votes will be counted individually in them. The results will be announced for those candidates individually in those polling stations, and once that is done, they get consolidated and are sent to the constituency from all those 20 polling stations and are brought together. Apart from that, of course, there is another method, but it's an exceptional situation where all the postal ballots and EVMs are brought together from all polling stations in one constituency and the counting and the result announcement happens. But that is an exceptional situation and only happens as per the directions of Election Commission of India. Now, as I said, who all can be present in this particular polling process? Of course, the returning officer, the candidates, the agents, the public servants on duty, as well as the authorized Election Commission personnel. Apart from that, let me just very quickly take you through the process. The first thing, in the first phase itself, all the designated people are supposed to gather in the polling station. All the EVMs, which are electronic voting machines, are checked, inspected properly. Then, of course, the postal ballots are the ones which get counted first. Exactly after the postal ballot starts, 30 minutes later is when EVMs are opened and the votes get counted. The next is, after every round of polling, those EVMs are resealed and a 2-minute gap is given to the candidates who are present and the agents if they want to object with respect to the polling process. They object and that request is taken by the returning officer if it's valid, if there are merits. Then he considers it again, and of course that's how the counting happens. Of course, finally a form is prepared in terms of results, which is of course with the approval of observer is passed on to the Election Commission and the appropriate authority for the final approval in terms of the results.
All right, Yash, thanks a lot for that. Because of you, now India knows how they count their votes. With that, we wrap up on Chartbusters, but you stay tuned to Trading Hour, a very crucial 1 hour, because after that, you will know the outcome of the credit policy. Thank you for watching.